Welcome back to the Rookie Numbers Podcast. I'm your host, Bryson Shank. Alongside me are your co-hosts, Nathan Wilt, Trent Sunday, Peter Schaefer. This week, we're going to be talking about the NFL and the devaluation of the running back position. We'll also be going in-depth talking about the top teams in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes. And finally, stay tuned for a game of buy/sell with the MLB's top teams. This is episode 1. Let's get to it. So, we're back.
How's it
back.
Feel?
We are back.
We're back. Walking into the studio today, I felt alive.
Video quality, audio quality, both improved.
We got some new
We're feeling great.
Hopefully improved.
Excited to be back, and we're looking forward to providing some content for y'all who like to listen.
Vibe in here, absolutely electric, I must say.
Oh yeah.
So before we get started with today's episode, there are a few housekeeping items we have to go over. First things first, we have new socials that everyone is a part of now. So before, as you guys know, we were running under the Prime Hoops accounts. And with their own mediums now, it gives us a chance to post a bit more freely and, collaborate with each other. So go follow us over on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. That's at Rookie Numbers Co. Rookie Numbers Co. C-O. It's at Rookie Numbers Co. on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Second order of business. We're expanding to all sports.
Woohoo!
So
We are back.
before during the NBA season, we were just talking about NBA. Partially because that was the only thing going on, but also because that's just what we were doing at the time. And we decided as a group that we wanted to talk about more. So we're going to be doing mostly the major 4 sports, and football, baseball, basketball, hockey. We may throw in some soccer. Messi's in the MLS. Olympics.
He is in
World
there.
Cup. We'll
He's
see.
got Messi's rocking a nice pink jersey, and you don't see that anywhere else.
Yeah. So you'll get what you get. We'll be all over the place, but we are back. We are
So back.
So our first topic today is the running back market. Last week, as you know, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Tony Pollard failed to reach deals with their respective teams. All 3 running backs are pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah.
And were franchise tagged by their teams this year and did not meet the deadline on finding a deal. How are we feeling about this? Running backs all over the place are just kind of getting screwed.
Well, it sucks. It sucks for these great talents. Some of these guys, they just ended up in the wrong position, right? But I just, as a GM and as an ownership group, you can't justify paying a running back more than he's worth. That's the long and short of it. If you take the Steelers, for example. I'm a Steelers fan, so I know I watch a lot of their games. I think the team could operate perfectly fine without former first-round draft pick Najee Harris.
Right.
I just don't see the value in taking a running back high or paying a running back very much in today's NFL.
Right, and you're seeing a lot of run games by committee, kind of what the Eagles are doing now, a few other teams. And other than, your top guys, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, maybe Derrick Henry, these guys aren't getting paid. And it does kind of bring up the question, are they worth getting paid?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well,
So there's 2 different ways I like to look at this. Based on the talent perspective, these guys absolutely deserve to get paid. But as you were saying, coming from a GM's perspective, looking at it in the past, 10, 15 years, these teams that are winning the Super Bowl are not paying running back rooms that much
exactly.
money.
Right.
Teams can replace running backs so easily with so little cost and have success in the NFL. It's ridiculous. Meaning, in my opinion, I don't think there's a need to pay a big-name running back, but it's not saying that the running backs don't deserve to be paid.
Well, you bring up a point about the Super Bowl. The last 5 starting running backs on Super Bowl winners, Jerick McKinnon, Cam Akers, past prime Leonard Fournette, Damian Williams, and Sony Michel. All getting paid combined under $6 million.
Well, you see, I see that, and you just have to take that. That's obviously a stat you can't ignore, but I don't feel like that's just the model to build a Super Bowl. I feel like you could pay a running back a significant amount of money to provide, that high salary. But in my opinion, a running back needs to do 3 crucial things, and if they don't do that, they might not even be worth a roster spot as a bell cow back. They got to be able to run the ball effectively, obviously. They need to be able to pass catch in today's NFL. If you can't do that, you can't be on the field unless you are a truly electric runner. And the third most underrated aspect is you have to be able to pass block. That's the main drawback from a lot of these guys. Like Joe Mixon, if you pay attention, Samaje Perine, a guy who was almost out of the league a year ago, was being put into these final snaps of these big games because Joe Mixon can't block a guy who's 6'5", 250.
Yeah.
And that's fine. He's not built for that. That's why he's not getting paid a lot of money, and that's why he's only being put down there on certain downs. Because he can't block these electric new pass rushers that are coming. Because as the game develops, we're seeing more and more pass rush. Mm-hmm. You need to have a running back who can not only identify the blitz coming off the edge, but also take that out of the game by laying down a good block.
And there's another thing too that you need to be able to do, which is out of control, but is stay healthy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest problem in this whole running back fiasco is the top guys aren't staying healthy.
Yeah.
Every year, Saquon Barkley is getting injured. Christian McCaffrey is getting injured. As good as these guys are, they're missing games every single season. There are running backs. I can't name a great running back that's played 2 straight seasons without getting injured.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it,
sorry,
I think one of the most complete backs in all 3 of those categories, and he's talking about, would be Saquon, but he just continues to get hurt. I mean, if you look at, he's a very underrated blocker in the backfield. I mean, he has the ability to catch passes. I mean, he kind of bails Daniel Jones out to an extent.
When I hear those things Nate said, the best guy that comes to mind is Saquon.
Yeah,
in my
well,
opinion.
and this is what I'm getting to right now. Mm-hmm. I believe there are 5 running backs in the league, only 5 that deserve an extension. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry, possibly the last Hall of Fame running back we're going to see in the next decade. Nick Chubb.
Whoa.
Who else is doing it, Peter? Who else?
Nick Chubb.
No.
Absolutely.
Nick Chubb.
Not Chubb.
No, not yet.
Not
He would have
Nick
to
Chubb.
sustain
Nick
it.
Chubb.
I'm not saying he is yet, but I think he's the best pure runner in football.
You look at a guy like Earl Campbell, a guy who's in the Hall of Fame. Not many people know who Earl Campbell is. Nick Chubb doesn't sniff Earl Campbell's rushing yards per season. Nobody puts up the numbers needed to make the Hall of Fame as a running back, except for Derrick Henry. And you know what? If Derrick Henry got injured and retired today, he might not even be a Hall of Famer. That's the kind of excellence you need to get into the Hall of Fame as a running back.
And I'll tell you what, Saquon and McCaffrey have the numbers typically year by year when they're healthy, but they aren't.
No, McCaffrey, unless he wins 2 to 3 more rings, I don't see him ever making the Hall of Fame.
Not a crazy take, but you could be onto something. Derrick Henry, the last guy with big numbers that's playing consistently.
I truly believe that Derrick Henry will be the last Hall of Fame running back for a very long time before we see another freak in nature like Derrick Henry.
Right.
But back to what I was saying. Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb should deserve an extension purely based off of rushing.
Yeah.
Right? I believe they are both subpar and receiving. Mm-hmm. Nick Chubb is a better pass blocker than Derrick Henry, but they're both very quality pass blockers just due to their massive frames.
Yeah.
It would be kind of impossible not to be a good pass blocker at that frame. Christian McCaffrey deserves an extension.
Absolutely.
He got one. Mm-hmm. He deserves it. Mm-hmm. And these are my 2 wild cards. Those 3 kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones are the only other running backs in the league I could see getting an extension without being a gross overpayment.
I like it. Even as an Eagles fan, I'm a big Pollard guy.
Well, Pollard checks all those boxes. An amazing rusher.
Right.
Not an amazing receiver, but a good receiver. A guy that you can have out there all 3 or 4 downs, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Probably the most underrated running back pass blocker in the league right now.
Yeah.
He set some of the most wild running back blocks that I've seen, just knowing, bang, he's out of the play. D-back flying off the edge. Tony Pollard's got him. Tony Pollard is exceptional. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Jones, exceptional runner, exceptional receiver. He's not a great pass blocker, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's why you have A.J. Dillon. And the thing that worries, that, takes away from, I think, people's perspective on Aaron Jones and Tony Pollard is a guy like Zeke and A.J. Dillon, who took the majority of snaps from them, which should have never happened.
Yeah.
Never should have happened. 2 of the worst running backs to get a majority of their snaps.
I mean that's just reflective of poorly run offenses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we're kind of straying away from the topic here. I want to hear from you 2 on this. What do you guys what's the solution here? Because there has been quiet rumors, not from any, big name sources, but could running backs just hold out? Could a whole position group hold out if they're not being paid?
So what I was seeing, I believe it was on TikTok. Someone posted a video. It was someone, it was a clip from someone on the talk show, and they were basically saying that unless running backs actually want to start getting paid a lot, there's going to have to be a combined number of them, of a significant amount of them, of very good players, for them to like go on strike. And even at that, I don't know how you would do that. Like it's hard to like comprehend, honestly, why how this is as ridiculous as it is, but I mean it isn't at the same time.
I think
I'm having a tough time trying to get my words out there, but you know what I mean.
I think there's enough good running backs that would not hold out just because they would end up getting touches by playing. That it would never happen.
And here's the thing that I look back on is a guy like Le'Veon Bell, famous holdout for the Steelers, held out for a full year because he didn't get his contract. He got a contract offer from the Jets that was worth less money after the holdout.
Yeah.
So that, in its premise, didn't even work for him. Mm-hmm. But the Steelers had no need to resign him after the season. They had James Conner. James Conner stepped up and did everything Bell was doing at a worse level, but they didn't have to submit, a fifth of the cap, not fifth, a 5% of the cap to it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense for these teams to give money to running backs unless they offer those three tools I was talking about. Unless you have a guy like McCaffrey, who if McCaffrey wanted to, he could just be a receiver tomorrow and not really drop off all too much in terms of just overall production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you got guys like Deebo Samuel and Cordarrelle Patterson, who are receivers, but they can play. They play running back sometimes, and they do a great job. Curtis Samuel. You see guys like Curtis Samuel, and I love Curtis Samuel. Trust me. Peter loves him. He's a commander, but he's not an elite receiver, and he still puts up good numbers as a running back type guy, as a third down running back type of player. Right. It doesn't make sense for teams to pay running backs.
Yeah, I bring out the potential holdout just to talk about it. I don't agree with it. I think it'd be a terrible idea.
Yep.
If you get your top guys to hold out, okay.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, there is a ton of running backs coming into the draft every year.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where this problem comes from. It's kind of a supply and demand issue. There's a ton of good, dynamic backs coming out of the draft.
Yeah.
Teams are picking them up.
Yeah.
And after a year or two, they're overtaking their RB1, and the cycle just keeps repeating.
I mean,
so if with that, why would you pay your running back?
It just doesn't make sense.
The only way I think you can warrant paying a back is if he's a focal point of your offense. Like if you got like Derrick Henry,
a CMC.
yes,
or
like Derrick Henry is the focal point of that Titans offense.
Right.
You have to give him an extension out of necessity because he makes that team work offensively. But if it's not a situation like that, you can find serviceable backs for significantly cheaper than these stars are looking for. And I think, unfortunately, if Saquon holds out, I don't think it's going to work out for him. I mean, he's got an injury history.
Yeah.
Despite being an incredibly dynamic back, it's hard to overlook that injury history and give a running back, especially when, I mean, we're talking about it right now, the position is undervalued, to commit to them long term when you can easily replace them in 2 years. And
I'll tell you what, one injury, even if you've been great the past 2 seasons, however many seasons, one injury can easily take you down in that position.
Oh, yeah.
Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, big name free agents right now. Still not signed by any team.
I think Cook will get signed.
And you know what?
He's
I
too
think
good not to.
I think Kareem Hunt should be the first one on teams' boards in terms of signing for how much he's worth.
Yeah.
How much his estimated contract would be unless Cook takes a pay cut. I think Hunt should be first on most teams' board. I really believe in Hunt being at least an above average starter in the NFL.
I do too. I 100% agree with you.
Yep.
And so we do have to get moving on from this topic, but there is one thing I want to bring up. So in a report by The Comeback, an anonymous GM told them, and this is a problem that GMs in the NFL are seeing, and they agree with us too, that this is not a problem that's going to end soon.
No.
This GM said, I don't think this trend of the diminishing contracts for the position is going to end anytime soon. I'd rather draft a running back high and let him walk after 5 years than pay him big money. And that's the mentality of pretty much every single GM right now in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Can't follow him.
This problem with the running backs is going to continue, and it's going to be interesting to see because is there a big difference in skill and contracts? Yes. I absolutely agree. However, it's just not plausible. These guys aren't just going to get money.
Yeah.
So
It's just not
going to be
possible.
it's going to be interesting to see how that goes for the next 5-10 years even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So our second topic today is about the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes. The Angels kind of suck right now.
Yeah.
They've been off and on all season. They've been off and on for the past decade,
Yeah.
with Mike Trout for most of that, and now possibly the greatest baseball player we've ever seen in Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about potential trade destinations for Shohei. I have a
Right.
list of a few teams here, and I just want to hear your guys' thoughts. Make it quick, make it snappy. Just want to talk about it.
All right.
First off, the biggest team, LA Dodgers.
Yes, makes sense. Get the deal done. They're probably winning the World Series.
I absolutely
Keep
agree. And
it
I
brief.
love this Dodgers team.
I think the Dodgers end up with Shohei. I mean, they clearly have the money. That's not an issue. And I mean, they have the assets to trade for him. It's not like it's the Angels are taking a loss there. I mean, obviously you're losing Shohei Ohtani, which is terrible, but like it's not like you're getting crap pieces back from the
Yeah.
Dodgers.
Yeah, for the Dodgers, I think it is the perfect fit. Still in LA, has to move a few blocks down the street, and that's
Yeah.
about it. The perfect market, arguably the biggest in baseball right now, with how poor the Yankees have played and a few other teams over the past few years. Arguably the biggest market. You're playing with a bunch of other All-Stars. You're playing for a World Series. I think it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I heard this question posed the other day about the Dodgers getting Shohei. Do you think the Dodgers right now beat the Braves?
No.
Do you
No
think
team
With
beats the
Shohei?
Braves.
without Shohei right
With
now?
or without Shohei, they are
You
not
still
beating the
think with
Braves.
Shohei they don't beat the
The
Braves?
Braves would have to have a major collapse for them not winning the World Series.
The
for
only
me.
the only team
Yeah.
beating the Braves this year is the Braves.
That is a great
That's a
point.
good
Yeah.
take.
The Braves are unreal. Let's not talk about the Braves, but the Braves are one of the best.
We'll
Baseball
get to the
teams
Braves
I've seen.
very soon. Peter, your thoughts on the Dodgers?
So for me, I love this move for the Dodgers simply because their hitting depth is so good, and adding him would make it even better.
Right.
And on top of that, their starting pitching this year has been very, very banged up. And if you add a Shohei Ohtani who doesn't deal with many injuries
Yeah.
at the starting pitching slot, it'd be great.
Yeah, and I mean, you wait for some of those guys to get back towards September, October. You're talking about an elite rotation.
Yep.
The best shot at beating the Braves.
Yep.
Easily the best shot at beating the Braves if they get Shohei.
Next team, kind of a wild card, maybe the New York Yankees. How we feeling?
The Yankees, as a purely business standpoint, should definitely make this move. As a baseball standpoint,
Makes zero sense.
it makes zero sense. I
Yeah.
think the Yankees are dumb to not start rebuilding, at least retooling. But as a business standpoint, this would be one of the greatest moves in sports history from
Right.
dollars and cents.
Right.
Yeah. I think they'll make a play at it for sure. I don't think he ends up in New York, but I think for the Yankees, like you said, as business, there's no way you don't chase Ohtani to come play in New York.
Right. But from a baseball standpoint, it's going to be hard for them to piece together a package. I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's
yeah. No,
Oh, yeah.
what if they
better
send over
than the
there?
Dodgers
Their
and other
team
teams.
is full of
Yeah.
washed up veterans.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean,
it's like
their farm's okay, middle of the pack, but it's not enough to get a Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. San Francisco Giants. Another team in California. I think probably my second favorite team for Shohei.
I will say I don't think they should trade for him this year, but come the offseason, they should put together a royal sum to
Again,
get Shohei.
I 100% agree with you.
I don't see, I like the Giants this year. Giants aren't winning the World Series with or without Shohei unless they get some of that early mid 2010s magic where they go on a crazy run. I just don't see it with this team's talent. Great team, great players, love the energy. It's just I don't see it getting done.
Yeah, it is a competent roster, and it could be a World Series contender. I think. Yeah, a few moves made.
I don't see it in this team. I understand the record, I understand the talent. It's just the way they're built. Me personally, I just don't see it happening.
But you're right. I think they can make a outstanding offer in the offseason for Shohei.
I want them to. That'd
Right
be
now for a
great.
trade, I don't know, but I think San Francisco is probably the most likely place he signs in the offseason.
Should. It'd be a good fit for both teams.
I tell you who would love that. My dad. Two of my dad's favorite players in baseball, Logan Webb, Shohei Ohtani. If you paired them both up at the starting pitching slot, that would be electric. And he adds, great power and to an already pretty good hitting lineup. So
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it'd be a good rotation.
Now, there are a lot of teams rumored here, but our fourth and final team for Shohei, the Philadelphia Phillies. Peter, I'll start with you. How do you feel about that?
So, as a Phillies fan who has followed them extremely closely for years and years and years, they don't have the money to extend him at the end of the season. And the rumors I'm getting, they'd have to give up Stott and another prospect. If I'm the Phillies, I'm not trading for Shohei Ohtani because you're getting a 2.5-month rental out of Shohei Ohtani. And even if you get Shohei, I'm not completely sure you win the World Series. And you give up a guy like Bryson Stott, who, in my opinion, I see so much Chase Utley in that guy, that is not worth it for my opinion there.
I think even with Shohei, they're still behind Dodgers and the Braves.
Yeah.
With or without Shohei.
You know,
I would say with Shohei, maybe better than Dodgers, but not the Braves.
you know, one team, one GM in the entire MLB who's gonna put his nuts on the table and make a play. That man's Dave Dombrowski.
Yeah.
And what he's gonna do is, I think it's a likely scenario that he's gonna offer a royal package for Shohei. And to be honest with you, I see that as a World Series contender. Harper plays first base. The big tater tot Kyle Schwarber is in the field. That right there, that is easily, in my opinion, a World Series contender. Based off of the magic they conjured last year, I don't know what kind of witchcraft and devil magic they were doing to do that, but I don't see why they can't do it again. I love the energy of the team, and I'd love the energy a lot more with Shohei Ohtani.
If they do get him, we're making a trip out to Philly immediately.
Oh, yeah.
You know, buying
Yeah.
tickets.
Oh,
to
yeah.
go
Ticket
to-
spiking $50, and I'm buying the first one.
Yeah. So, of course, you know, there are many teams rumored to make a play for Shohei, but those are the most exciting teams. You know, there's the
Yeah.
Mariners, there's the Reds. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares about those teams?
Yeah.
If it happens, you know, good for them, but I don't really want to talk about the Marlins and the Reds right now.
And no one wants to listen to that.
No one does.
All right, our final topic of the day, and this is a fun one. We're bringing you guys a new game segment that we just created right now on the spot. This is called Buy or Sell. I'll ask each one of you, are you buying or selling on this team? You'll have 20 seconds, no more, to answer. If you go over your 20-second limit, I will cut you off and your take is invalid. Nate, we're going to start with you. Are you buying or selling on the Padres?
I'm going to buy. I think they've got way too much high-end talent, which wins baseball games. They've been a bit of a mess recently. I understand that. But I really think they're going to bounce back. They might make a few low-key moves at the deadline, but I think they're going to come back to form.
Okay, perfect. Right in the 20 seconds. Trent, are you buying or selling on the New York Yankees?
Oh, I'm selling. I'm selling the whole house. As a Yankees fan, sell the team. Just sell everybody. Get rid of it. Blow it up. Everyone gone. Move on. I'm done.
Peter, are you buying or selling on the Baltimore Orioles?
I'm buying 100%. The team is young, and it's going to work out. Just trust me on this. This team hasn't been this electric since like 2015, and even at that, it was even worse. So, I'm buying.
All right, Nate, we're going back to you. Are you buying or selling on the Houston Astros?
Buy in all caps, put like 12 exclamation points behind them. We're going to see the greatest second half in the MLB from this team. Great turnaround, great talent, World Series proven roster, low-key moves are going to be made, elite team.
All right, Trent, are you buying or selling on the Blue Jays?
Well, due to Hyunjin Ryu not being back yet, sell. That's all I have to say. Moving
Shout out
on.
Hyunjin, great guy.
All
Elite
right,
pitcher.
One
Peter,
of my
are
favorites.
you buying or selling on the Tampa Bay Rays?
Personally, I have to buy. Right now, they aren't looking very, very, very good, but they're just in a little bit of a slump. I think they'll get out of it, and their postseason success in previous seasons will get them over that hill.
All right, Nate, your last team. Are you buying or selling on the Texas Rangers?
This one's hard for me. If I could do like a middle option, like a stay put, I would, but I guess I have to buy. I believe in Seager. I believe in the rest of that heating core like Semien. I think their pitching's good enough. Losing to Grom hurts, but I'm okay with that team. I think they're going to do well. I'm buying.
All right, Trent, your last team. Are you buying or selling on the New York Mets?
All right, so in all seriousness, I am going to sell the Mets. They've been terrible. They're not good, and their pitching staff is paid $1 trillion, and they still suck. So
Alright.
I'm selling.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree
Peter?
more.
Peter, your
Cookie
last
Carrasco.
team. Are you buying or selling on the Philadelphia Phillies?
Buying. Y'all saw what they did last year in the postseason. And they're going to sneak into the playoffs some way, somehow. And when they do, they're going to do it in a big way. They might make it back to the NLCS here. I like their team a lot.
All right, and that's it. That's the first segment of Buy or Sell. How do we like it?
I liked it. Had a problem with Peter's Rays take, but outside of that, I'm cool with it.
I like the part where he went, they're not very, very good, but they're just very good. All right, well, I think that'll do it for the new rebranded episode 1.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Remember to follow all of our socials at Rookie Numbers Co. That's at Rookie Numbers Co. on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, pretty much every social media page, wherever you find your content. We'll be back next week. Thank you guys for watching.